Welcome back, frenemies. We are here at episode 76. This is the 757 podcast one. We're missing our host. He's sick. If you listen to the other episode, you'd hear how that went.
COVID negative.
Yes, so he does not have the Rona. And then also to my left, I have his twin brother who got, all sorts of praise for his hilarity. And then to my left, the other guy in the room with me here, who thinks he's now won the championship and wearing a crown. What's going on here, Ryan?
Yeah, Sean, I just had a solid week one. I overcame a lot. I had a chip on my shoulder. A lot of people were hating on my team.
Yeah.
My 9th round draft pick. And
first overall pick because he was the worst team last year.
I'm undefeated. So I just want everyone to know what they're up against.
I want you to know
year.
that you gloated in the chat about this, and my first reaction was to go back to week one last week and see if you won, and you didn't win, so I couldn't do it. But it would have been so hilarious if you had won week one, and then I was going to show you that and be like, so you won week one last week. How'd that turn out for you? Humble him a little bit, but no.
Ryan gets out of control. I get out of control real quick, and it's already started.
You gotta enjoy it while you got it. That's what I say.
Yeah, and I always got it.
You always got it. Yeah, that's not exactly right. So this week on 757, we're just gonna kind of chat this out, talk about what happened in our league this week.
Yeah.
We can start right off the top with me. I played David. Congrats, David. You put me over your leg and spanked me.
You gave Sean a spanking.
Yeah. I felt like my team played really well. I was excited about how the game went. But when you have Devontae Adams that just goes off for 34 freaking points,
That's just rude.
I couldn't come back from it. I was over there being jealous of him for all the touchdowns. We were over, shout out to Jake Seeley. We were over there watching the games, and he was like, people are going to complain about Julio Jones' stat line, how he didn't get any touchdowns when they gave him 20 points. And that was me. That was exactly me. I was like, come on, Calvin Ridley, give me a couple touchdowns for Julio Jones. But the other fun thing I wanted to mention, too, that has been going on is this nickname thing. Keep it up, guys. I really like, especially Leroyce, you are the man with these nicknames. In the Sleeper app, you can go in and add nicknames to your players. I had a little fun going through and adding mine.
We might need to might need to kind of highlight Leroyce here a little bit. Lamar Jackson is Sweet Feet. Nick Chubb is Chubba Chubba Choo Choo. Devin Singletary is No Belief. I don't really get that.
He doesn't like his pick.
Oh, okay. Tyreek Hill is Cheetah Blood. CeeDee Lamb is Snatch the Phone. I just said it snatch the phone.
Yeah.
Waller is Wall of Hands. This is my favorite. Justin Tucker is Golden Leg. I don't know why. Ravens is Them Boys. Deshaun Jackson is D-Jack. Unfortunately, my true favorite is now off the team. Marlon Mack was Mac Daddy, among others like Robbie Anderson, whose name is Crazy Hair. So I actually laughed.
So keep up the nickname, guys, for sure. If anybody else wants to jump in there, I'm sure we have a creative bunch in our league that can come up with some pretty funny ones. As far as
Golden Leg,
outlook going
and Mac Daddy,
outlook going forward on David's team and my team. Obviously, when you score 142 points, it's hard to say that you're not going to be a good team the rest of the year. I love his team. Kyler Murray looks like he's the real deal, worth that pick every bit. Zeke really, I've always been impressed by Zeke, but I watched that Sunday night game, and he just looks like a monster that we need to have in the same breath as Saquon and Christian McCaffrey.
It's the tattoo.
He's a beast, man.
Yeah.
Didn't appreciate that part of it. But as far as my team goes, David kind of texted me and said that to me. He's like, good game. I'm scared to play your team later in the year. That's kind of how I feel. I've got to weather the storm through these first couple weeks. I've got these rookies. JTT, Jonathan Taylor, my boy, he's looking up for him, so I'm hoping that can be a solid 1-2 punch with Dalvin Cook and Jonathan Taylor.
You are so set, dude.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand...
Yeah, let's just jump over to your game here. You played Leroyce.
Yeah.
The man with all the nicknames.
Mac Daddy and Golden
As
Leg.
we've already mentioned, you won, so we don't need to mention that.
I did win.
You didn't mention it was 3 points, but...
Yeah.
And you didn't break 100.
Yeah, but,
the details. Who needs those?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As far as your team going forward,
I'm scared.
to me,
So,
I would. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna be honest, dude. I saw stars when Tom Brady went to the Bucks, and they have Fournette, and they have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk. Even like, there's just nobody on that team who's bad. And I was like, this is the next Peyton Manning situation. It's gonna be crazy. I put a little too much stock in that, just like last year. This was my issue last. Okay,
I think
my issue last year was putting all my hope in the Browns. I was like really high on the Browns. I'm afraid I did the same thing with the Bucks this year.
Yeah, honestly, I think you could drop Gronkowski at this point. Like,
I don't have Gronk.
Oh, you don't have.
I don't have Gronk.
Oh, I'm sorry. You liked the pick, but you didn't.
It was I went with Mike Evans and Tom Brady, and I drafted Tom Brady pretty high, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
Not the defense.
Yeah. Not the defense that you took.
They are not the issue.
Okay, and then let's move on to our host here, Chris. He played Dr. Champsalot, which is our Dr. Tim James, not an MD. And he did a similar thing that David did to me, where he just annihilated him, what it seemed like, in the second half of that first game.
Tim doesn't play nice. He never has.
And he's over here. He's that guy that complains about someone on his bench that he should have started. He really wishes he started J.K. Dobbins.
Tim is that annoying kid in class who's like, oh my gosh, when you get your grades and they start moaning, oh, like they're having a child. And you're like, what grade did you get? A-.
I think it might be time to, break out what we think should be his new NFL comparison here.
Okay, so I had an epiphany on Sunday as I had always compared Tim to Phillip Rivers because he gets upset when he's playing Frisbee sometimes if people don't catch the ball. Still true.
Might be a little yelling going on at them.
Yeah. Tim's a competitor. So is Aaron Rodgers. When I looked at the screen on Sunday and I saw Aaron Rodgers just sitting there like smirking.
I think it's actually a better comparison.
I was like, that's Tim.
He'll like it a lot more.
100%. Tim has the aura of 2020 Aaron Rodgers. Just sass. I'm going to beat all of you. Just watch me.
Yep.
I'm going to look good doing it.
All right. Well, let's move on to Joe and Mike,
Darn you,
our guy
Joe.
to the left here.
Darn you, Joe, for being smart. That's my take.
The Deshaun Watson pick was great. That really helped him out. McCaffrey... I'm honestly a little afraid for McCaffrey just because of how much Bridgewater spread the ball out.
You share this opinion with Emery Hunt from The Athletic. He was like, his thing was, hold your horses on Christian McCaffrey, at least temper expectations because Bridgewater isn't going to need to check down to Christian McCaffrey every single play.
And that's what would scare me about him. He got into the end zone twice, so his stats look great. Like his final score was 26 points. But, he's not going to score a touchdown every week.
It's not like 40.
Yeah. And it just scares me a little bit. I don't think that he's not the number one anymore, but I think the gap might be closed to the point where he's not going to be an extra 100 points more than everybody at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So as far as the game went, Joe defeated Mike this week, 126, one of the highest scoring teams. Like we said, Joe did well. For Mike, Russell Wilson obviously dominated. That's going to be a huge steal for you in the draft. Eckler, another one I'm a little worried about, but I honestly think he got the targets that you were hoping he got. He just didn't get into the end zone, so I wouldn't freak out on him. Matt Breida in your starting lineup, I don't know how that happened, and I'm sorry for you. And Hopkins, this is the other guy I wanted to mention on here. Hopkins, your two receivers are looking pretty dang good with Adam Thielen and DeAndre Hopkins. So I honestly don't think his team is going to be too bad. He's just going to really have to find some running back depth on the waiver wire.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Next we have Tidewater Turtles, the Turtle Man himself. He put up a good fight, but he could not beat Morgan, who I know was texting me all weekend saying, he was so proud of his boys. They got it done for him.
But again, Morgan, if you play to win this year, I mean, you heard their rankings on your drafts.
Yeah, stay committed, man.
Yeah.
Keep this up. Don't just go 5-0 and then, fall off. I think that Roethlisberger, I think it can only get better. He got 22 points for you on what I looked like a pretty bad week. Henry's freaking beast. Kenyon Drake,
Yeah,
bad week, had 13 points.
It pisses
Could be
me
even
off
better than
watching
that.
it. And you know what's awesome, Morgan, is that all of your bets in week 1 at least paid off. You bet on Todd Gurley coming back. He looked really good. Julian Edelman's consistent. DJ Chark. I mean, dude, you hit on all cylinders for week 1. So let's hope it keeps up to week 2.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say with your team is careful with Zach Ertz.
Yes.
That is, he did get a touchdown, but that is the only thing that saved him. He was 3 of 7 on 18 yards, and that one touchdown that saved his week. There's, I'm not the person saying this, but there's whispers in the bushes about that, Goddard may be more the tight end one this year. They don't seem to want to pay Ertz. I'd be just a little scared. So maybe start looking a little bit for that tight end backup plan.
But other than that, dude, you are airtight.
All right, and then our last matchup here is Phil, the man that just always continues to dominate, knows how to draft well, and he played Andy this week, so we got a bye. I'm just kidding, Andy, not a bye week. He had some tough luck. Soul Juice himself had James Conner go down. That was a hard one. He was looking like he was going to get all the work. He didn't look great with it. There's talk now about
Benny Snell.
Yeah, being a guy that
tore up camp.
Gonna eat into his workload. He's injured right now, James Conner. So
I want to just bring up Tim's analysis on this. He's a Steelers fan, but he's also, one of the best fantasy players in our league. Tim's take,
current champ.
Yeah, current defending reigning champion. His take was that Connor plays like he's bigger than he is. He's initiating contact when he shouldn't be. He's not being smart.
He thinks he's Derrick Henry.
He thinks he's Derrick Henry, but he's really Darren Sproles. But yeah, so that's Tim's take was that Snell runs hard like Connor, but he's bigger and he's going to hold up better. Watching Benny Snell, I was actually there was a little hint of Le'Veon there. Maybe it's just the colors throwing my mind off because I'm susceptible to this. But
no, there was one play that I saw a little bit of the patience.
Yeah.
And just
maybe it was just the one play.
I did see.
I saw a Le'Veon play once. Yeah.
We already talked about Gronk. I'd be scared, man. Start finding some options. Michael Thomas, he got hit with some bad injuries this week. As far as Phil's team goes, we knew it was going to be great. It was great. Josh Jacobs was better than anybody could have thought. 3 freaking touchdowns.
Marquise Brown, I'm hating myself for not drafting him over Mike Evans. I liked him more.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even have a touchdown, and he's 101 yards, 12.6 out of his fantasy week. That's looking up, man. I would be excited about
your whole team.
Yeah, you bet on the Ravens here. It's funny, he's a Steelers fan. He bet on the Ravens, but
you did, huh? You got
I would
Mark
put
Andrews in there too.
I mean, we kind of mentioned it before in the preseason after the draft. Phil's definitely one that's always contending for the title, and he's got one of the best teams. So, Not a lot changed with that. The only other takeaway that I would have is you guys jump into this chat and talk about these hilarious, what are they called? Weekly report. So there's just some funny stuff in there. I won't even mention who got what, but make sure you check it out. There's some funny things. Sleeper likes to make fun of people and say who was the worst manager and who was the best manager.
Man, there's some savagery.
Yeah.
Going on in there.
All right, any closing thoughts for us, Ryan?
Closing thoughts are, just keep doing what you're doing. Play fantasy football and ignore things in your life that would prohibit you from doing well in fantasy. Like if you, dishes, for example, reading to your kids, wedding planning, things like that. You're going to want to make sure you stay focused because this is where it counts the most. Waiver wire week 1 is the most critical part of fantasy.
It's
arguably,
yes.
Of the fantasy waiver wire. So don't be reading to your kids. They'll understand. It builds character when your dad's slightly absent. It creates, you never seen the movies where like the spy is like, my dad wasn't there for me. Your kids will be strong.
All right.
Anyway.
I'll cut Ryan off here before we get in trouble. But thanks for listening, guys. That's the 757 podcast. Hopefully we'll have Chris back next week. Jump in all the chats, jump in on the comments, and let us have it for not giving your team the credit it deserved.
Yes.
Deuces.